Hey guys, I've been putting a lot of time into this new MOBA that's in early access right now called Paragon, and I've been playing online a bunch, and I've encountered a ton of people who really do not necessarily know how to either start or just how to play. So this is going to be a beginner's guide to specifically Paragon, but I'm going to try and just run through like what cards to start with, where exactly you should go, placing wards, how harvesters work. And the first guy I'm starting off with is my space police officer Murdoch, and he's a very honestly, I think he's a really well-rounded character. He's got a really strong wave clear and a crazy strong auto attack. If you just build straight energy damage and crit chance, he becomes this beast of a character. And you're not going to get to see the build early on because I don't have time to shoot an entire Murdoch clip at the moment. So this is just going to be how to play him and then how to play Rampage for early game. So honestly, currently in the current meta, it doesn't really matter what lane necessarily you pick, but if you pick anyone like Murdoch or Gideon, you're going to want to be in a lane because that's where his skills really shine. So if you see this Kalari pushed up rather hard, so I'm going to start DPSing her so she runs away, because to be honest, she shouldn't have overextended like that. I'm going to chase her down, and then when I see that she's too far into tower, I'm going to turn around and go place my ward. Because honestly, I need to make sure no one's going to come and sneak up behind me. If you don't really get that, then you need to understand that these pools basically hide you away. And I was teleporting back because I was like, oh, I should go pick up my second ward, because wards basically work like you put one down, you teleport back to base, and you can get another. Now, as I was teleporting back, one, I saw Kalari push up on Rampage, and then I realized that, wait, I don't need another ward because I don't have another way of attack that they're going to come get me. If I put it right down there in the middle, I can see everybody coming nearby, so I don't even have to worry about it. So I can just fight Kalari and then not stress about the wards as long as I can see that one. Now, Rampage is more of a jungler than a laner because his damage is just awful. I mean, what is it called? His armor and his health is pretty phenomenal, but damage-wise, he's awful. Like he's not good at killing waves early game. So he's honestly right now he's just sort of muddling around while he hits these things. Now, never charge into a tower first before your adds, because the tower will automatically target the first enemy that walks into it. Another tip for towers: do not shoot an enemy champion or hero or whatever while you're underneath a tower, because then the tower automatically sees you as the threat and targets you, and you will die because the towers do roughly like 400 or 500 damage a shot. And for someone like Murdoch, that's like 2 shots. And for someone like Rampage, sure, it's like 4 or 5, but still not a large amount of damage you want to acquire at one time. It'll destroy you over time. So you just want to basically, if you're going to go inside of there and there's a champion, if you're ranged, you need to walk around that champion, because if you accidentally shoot them, you will the turret will target you. So you got to walk around and basically keep the sides of the we'll call it the honestly, it's sort of like a target. It's just a floating orb of health for it, but you have to make sure you walk around the sides to hit it so that you don't hit the champion, because you don't want to die. I mean, if you do want to die and be an awful teammate, then I mean, go ahead. It's fine to do that because it'll reflect in like your ELO score and your KDA and everything. But personally, I would argue if you want to be good at this game, you probably should not do that. Just saying. But so you see, I put that my little grenade right there. The one thing about Murdoch is he has a good wave clear. His Q, which is basically a shotgun. His E is a sort of trip mine grenade style thing, and honestly, it's probably one of my favorite tools in the game, because you can use it as like a homemade ward. Like, you can just throw it down somewhere, and if anyone walks into it, it alerts your thing that it blew up, and it doesn't blow up unless a champion walks into it. So you know that someone's either sneaking up on you, or you placed a ward somewhere that was just lucky. So I'm sprinting up so I can start shooting this, because I've got a good wave from my own ads with me right now. We're probably gonna get half health before I'm gonna pull back out, because I don't want to overextend and get taken down by like Kalari and a Grux or really anybody. Now I'm gonna leave because the targeted Rampage. Being the idiot that this bot is, he's going to try and fight the Kalari one-on-one while being aggroed by a turret. And I mean, I wouldn't say that's the necessarily worst strategy, but I would say it's one of the worst strategies. So just if you're an ADC or basically an attack damage carry, which is someone whose goal is to build damage and take down enemy champions, then you should stand. If there aren't any ads inside of the turret, you should stand outside the turret and either try and kill the enemy ads or just shoot the champion. Because if you can do enough damage to the champion's going to run away because they don't want to die. Because if they die, they give you card points, which means you can get ahead in that area. And the goal is basically not letting the other team get ahead. Like, I know that sounds like, oh, well, it just means you win. No, because even if you do incredibly well, if the other team does really well card-wise, then they can make a massive comeback if they just make one good play. In fact, take some time to maybe watch like professional League of Legends matches, or because there are quite a few times where they're like the whole early and mid game of the match, the team just gets destroyed and they come back and have this big sort of like team just group up and they win the fight and basically win the match. Sounds ridiculous and just unlikely, but I mean it happens because of mistakes and allowing someone to sort of set up to become too powerful. I mean, one time I played against a Murdoch who literally built all crit chance and all energy damage, and that's fine. I'm not saying like, oh, he's a douche for doing that. No, it's just he built all of that, and he built it so fast that by mid game he was so powerful he could even kill our tanks in a couple of shots. He was doing roughly 700-800 damage a shot, but that was mid game. That wasn't even like, oh, it's late game, but we're all fully built. No, he was fully built. I mean, he didn't cheat or anything. He just had good cards and he knew what he was doing. Oh, and another great thing about Murdoch is he has his right mouse button is basically a good defense against close range melee champions, because if you click right mouse button and then click left mouse button, you sort of throw it like you summon this like energy shield, and if you throw it, it'll stun whoever's charging you. So like if Grex charges you, you can stun him and it throws him up in the air a little bit, and you can just run away. Now, currently, since I was playing with a beginner's deck, just to give you an idea of how the game sort of plays out early on, I don't have any of the specialty wards with this Murdoch. I know I have some, just not without my card deck. So when you should always actually it's not really a you should always. When you get the chance, instead of just having regular wards, I like to switch them out and upgrade to the specialty wards, because they tend to have like energy damage or cooldown reduction and stuff built in, so you get the benefits of buying a card, but you also get way better wards, which is what someone who's blading needs to protect themselves from ganking and just overall surprises. I mean, even if it's not a successful gank, if they surprise you well enough, you could lose the CS the last hitting you would get. You'll have to pull out. Alright, so now I'm running up because we've already destroyed first turret, and honestly, Rampage stayed behind and created this massive minion wave. I mean, if I remember correctly, it was like something like 17 minions. Yeah, look at that. 17 minions. That's a ton of damage in one place, and to be even more than that, that takes a lot of turret shots, because some of the minions take 2 shots to kill. So we just stand there, take down the turret, and that's one push that destroyed an entire turret, which is awful for the enemy team. Great for us, of course, but now, if you see this, Grux is going to start immediately trying to clear ads. Why? Because if he clears the ads, he can't push it forward. Without the safety of a turret, though, he's incredibly vulnerable to my attacks, and Rampage stuns him. So Kalari is trying to revoke it after we just did a ton of damage. But Rampage's rock throw is just hilarious, because he picks up a boulder and can throw it like. To be honest, it's quite a distance. Like early on, I thought it was just a close range thing. He can really chuck it. All right, watch this. He's gonna Q. Oh no, that's an E. He E's into us, and then he dies because he E'd through my grenade or my hidden what's it called? Explosive charge, and so he basically killed himself because he was just too anxious to try and push me back. He should have. If you're defending against someone like Murdoch or Gideon, honestly, you should step back into your tower and just focus on killing the ads, because if they step up, all you have to do is step in front of them, and if they shoot you, then the turret will aggro on them and do a ton of damage, and they'll have to run away. Because look at this Kalari. This Kalari is focusing at, which is fine, but if she moved in my direction and stood in front of me, I wouldn't be able to shoot the tower, and I wouldn't be able to do the damage, which means the ads would just, or the turret would aggro on me and push me back, and then she could just kill the ads without worrying about a ton of damage going to the turret. And now I'm gonna run back a little bit because I don't have my Rampage, and a Grux and Kalari together is awfully dangerous combo. I mean, Grux has the pull-in, Kalari has the dagger, and then her R is just huge damage dealer for someone like me who doesn't have any physical resistance. See that? She did what, like no, that was more like 350 health from just her R. And I mean, I survived, but that's because she's a bot, and that was an awful time to use it. Whew. Now, Grux is an interesting person to play against because he's very damage oriented, and he's not health oriented. So he's he can be though. Like unlike Gideon or Kalari, you can build health on a Grux and become this tanky damage dealer. And you could do the opposite on like a Rampage and build damage on it, but it would just be ineffective because that's not what he's for at all. He's basically a punching bag that's designed to just take damage and then not dish it back out. He's supposed to take the damage so people can walk around the punching bag and throw more punches at the other punching bag. If that makes sense. Actually, to be honest, I really don't think it does. But for some reason in this situation, the punching bag's trying to fight somebody. Just go with it. Now, I got this wave clear, everyone's pushing up, and I thought that was a good place to end this Murdoch guide because that's early game. That's a good 10-minute early game guide, so just try to do that with your Murdoch. Make sure you don't get ganked, put wards down, make sure you last hit the minions so you can get the card points, and just stay alive, to be honest. Alright, now it's time to talk about Rampage. Now, I can honestly say I'm really partial to this guy because he's just a phenomenal champion. And he's not... a lot of people are complaining that he's overpowered, but whenever I play as him, I don't really feel overpowered. I feel exactly as powerful as he should be. And so to start him off, you should probably pick up usually a Harvester Key. I pick up a Mana Potion because he runs out of mana pretty fast. And I pick up a ward because I'm going to ward mid lane and the other lane that's close by, or the lane that's actually far away from me, because I'm gonna try and keep an eye on one lane specifically, because usually when you're playing with bots, you end up with like 2 people in one lane and then 1 in each of the others. So I'm gonna keep my eye on the 2 lanes with 1 person in them. So that's currently my left lane and that's my right lane. So I'm gonna put a ward in mid lane because I might not always stay close enough to pay very direct attention to it. And the great thing about these wards is they actually sort of send up a notification on your map when like an enemy walks into them. Like, see, it just did it right there. And that's really useful in the sense that it suddenly draws your attention to it. Whether in the future it'll add like a sound, I don't know. That would be really useful, but I doubt it because you should just end up paying attention to those sorts of things. So this Gideon overextended. Well, actually, to be honest, he didn't overextend. It's just he tried to save Sevarog by pushing up and pushing our ADCs back. But as a jungler, my job is to run in front and just take the damage. So I came up and stunned him and then took his attack so that I could just push him back. Because early game Gideon isn't that dangerous. Late game Gideon is, but early game, I mean, he's slightly a pushover if you have a ton of health. But now I'm going to go right lane because I've already warded mid lane. So I keep my eye on Muriel because I can see whether someone's coming from the front, and I can also see if anyone's going through mid, but I doubt, or I'll be over there, so I'll be in the jungle. So if anyone's moving through the jungle, I'll either see or hear them. And that's something you should probably either invest in or just pay attention to, is if you have good headphones, you should really use them with this game, because characters like Kalari, who turns invisible and you can hear her, or even like, I mean, Rampage, honestly, he sounds like a truck running over just like gravel. I mean, seriously, you could hear him from forever away. When I fight minions sometimes, or not minions, but when I fight jungle creatures, enemies can hear me and they come looking for me. In fact, that's what's about to happen. Is I'm going to kill these 2 guys and then Twin Blast is going to come out because he could hear me fighting them. Now, to be honest, if you just walk sort of in this annoying circular pattern, the ads miss a bunch. Like, honestly, there are tons of times where they don't even hit. They just completely miss you. And if you just continue to do this, you can basically save a bunch of health while doing damage to the ads. So now I'm going to charge up, and I'm going to run back so I can kill the ones on my side. But, oh no, a Twin Blast caught me. What will I ever do? It's a Twin Blast, and it's an early game Twin Blast. He deals pretty good damage, but I have a ton of health. And my abilities are almost built to beat people like him. I mean, a stun? Come on, I'm just gonna take him down. And he apparently leveled up his right mouse button first, so he tries to like jump away, and it just doesn't work. Here comes the Q. Pick it up. Stun. Slap. 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 Dead. Oh yeah, but I mean it's a bot. I mean it's not like, oh, I'm the greatest ever. No, but that Twin Blast was being a moron. I mean, why would you push on somebody like a Rampage? Now see, this Decker caught me, and I have 30 health, so I jump away with my right mouse button because you don't want to feed. Like your goal should not be like to just get kills or to just succeed on your own. Your goal should be overall team success, which means playing your role successfully, but not getting any certain like specific things done, like or specific like personal goals done. I mean, honestly, you're gonna see a ton of people who have like amazing kills after a game, and if you're playing something like a support or a jungler, you might not, and that's okay because you're not necessarily supposed to. I mean, there are times where I've played like Rampage before, and I've gone like 8-0 or 8-0-4, but it's not really necessarily about that. Really, if you're a good Rampage, people are going to notice because you're going to take all of the damage for them so they can survive and do what they need to do. Now, Harvesters really tie into a jungler's job. And I mean that seriously, because some people will not do this, but if you're going to be a good jungler or a good support, you need to focus on getting this right. Now, the jungle is full of dangerous and scary monsters. Not really. In fact, it's full of very easy to beat creatures except for the OP buff and, to be honest, the black buff in there. I honestly don't really know what the black buff does. Yeah, I don't know. So forget that. Just fight the regular minions and get high enough that, or get usually around rank 7 or level 7. I mean, is when I have less difficulty fighting the blue buff and the red buff. And I honestly, as Rampage, I pick up the red buff just because he does next to no damage, and I really need the blue buff because his mana is awful unless you build for it. And I tend to not build for it. I tend to just build straight health so I can just stalk the map and get shot at. I mean, honestly, it's like, seriously, when you're Rampage, you're a character who's basically an armored SUV, and your job is to drive in front of your heavily armored soldier, or your heavily armed soldiers, so that you can make sure they don't die while also trying not to die as much as the enemy team. It's not incredibly difficult, like after you figure out exactly what you're supposed to do, but just don't play it like you're unstoppable, because you're definitely not unstoppable, but kind of pretty close. So it's difficult sometimes. Like honestly, it gets to a point sometimes in matches where I'm just like, oh, I'm amazing, and in reality I'm not. The enemy team's just making enough mistakes that I can capitalize on them and do well. And so, okay, so at this point in time, I thought that I thought this was the right side, or the other side with the Harvester in the middle. And one thing you need to remember is at 3 minutes, the 2 Harvesters in your jungle open up, and the 2 Harvesters on the enemy side open up. At 6 minutes, the 2 Harvesters on either side of the map, over on the sides of right and left lane, open up. And then the last Harvester opens up at 9 minutes, and it opens up where the OP buff is, that big boss level, big purple guy with the gun. Hopefully they're gonna add skins to that. I mean, I figure they are. I mean, currently it's an alpha, so if they don't, so, Rampage basically has one ranged attack, and it's about to happen right now where I kill the Sevarog with it, because you can just chuck a bullet around. I can't say there are many characters in this game who literally physically throw the environment, but Rampage does it quite beautifully, if I say so myself. Now, I'm going to run away because this Gideon is destroying me. As much health, or as much as I'm supposed to be able to tank damage, he's doing enough that I don't want to die, and I took enough that I killed the Sevarog. So I'm going to leave now and go look for that Harvester I was talking about, but this is not the right Harvester. This one opens up in 1.5 minutes. So I'm going to book it to the outside lane so I can build a Harvester, so I'll be able to get more card points so I can do better. Now, this is honestly important in the sense that if you want to build a stronger character, you're going to want to build Harvesters, and a lot of people you're going to play with don't build Harvesters at all, or annoyingly enough, you build the Harvesters, and then for some reason they abandon their role to go get the Harvester instead of letting you do it and do your job. So you're always going to deal with these annoying people who aren't doing it right. But the fact of the matter is, overall it won't really matter, because the Harvester distributes an equal amount of points to everyone. The annoying thing is sometimes people go and get the points when they really shouldn't, and they should be pushed. Alright guys, I'm going to end the video here with a quick clip of something you should not do. And this is a successful gank. I snuck out and I'm beating the crap out of this gadget. Now Muriel should have pushed up and started doing more damage. She's essentially not. We could have finished gadget off right now. But because I had warded correctly, Decker comes out of nowhere, stuns me, and I basically have to just jump out this game. So don't do that, and have a good time playing Paragon, guys.